Hey everybody, this is TheJayMaymi and Survive to Thrive TV. I am very excited about today's episode, and boy, are you in for a treat. We have probably one of the most premier individual businessmen, entrepreneurs, who has really risen to the ranks of someone that can be counted as notable and honorable in what they have done with their lives. And the epitome of Survive to Thrive is finding those individuals whose testimonies become an encouragement to all of us. And boy, we've got a great testimony tonight that you're going to hear from. Keenan Williams is one of the most popular individuals in the, actually, not only the Dallas area, but the national scene based on what he's done in his life story. So I'm excited to have him here, spend a few minutes with us. We're actually hanging out down here in Legacy West in Plano. It's gorgeous outside. I wish you guys could see this whole scenery. It's just beautiful on a great night tonight. So I'm sure you'll probably feel a little jealous right now. But it's just nice out here, and it's great to spend the evening with a good friend. So, Keenan, I want you to share with our readers, our listeners, our fans of the show, a little bit about your story. I want you to share a little bit about what it was about your life that you decided at a certain point when you were down and out and struggling and having a difficult time, that it was time for things to change, and it forced you to make those changes. Tell us a little bit about that story and what happened in your life.
Well, first of all, Jay, I want to share with you that success is only determined by the people that you put around you. So any success that I've had, any success that I will have, is because I will bring the right associations that will take me to the next level or take me to the next season of my life. So it's not me, it's the people that are around me. So I don't ever want to portray to anyone that I'm perfect, that I'm not flawed, that I don't make mistakes, that I don't sometimes make wrong choices or decisions. But surrounding myself with mentors and people that will hold me accountable has made the difference. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. It does make sense. So surrounding yourself with people that make you better.
Not people that will agree with me all the time.
Right.
Not friends. Friendship and mentors are different. A friend loves you for who you are. A mentor loves you for who he sees you can become.
Did you guys get that? I want you to say that one more time.
A friend loves you for who you are and where you are. Those are easy. But a mentor loves you for who he sees that you can become. So his expectations of you are not where you are. They are always where he sees you can be. So the accountability level is always higher. The agreement sometimes is not there that we look for, but the agreement or the disagreement is merely a challenge to raise my level of thinking to go where he sees that I can be.
So your first message, your first encouragement would be to those that are watching our episode, that you have to surround yourself with people that aren't going to tell you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear, whether you like it or not.
You have to.
Okay. So getting mentoring early on was a key in your transition from surviving to thriving?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Those associations were key. You know, I tell people all the time, I didn't go to Harvard, but I surrounded myself with people who did. And so it has caused me or allowed me to become more successful than I could ever imagine. Now, I have not achieved the success that I see, but I'm on that road, and I'm having a good time doing it because I'm lined up with my purpose. I'm lined up with who I am. That was the key ingredient to coming out of a life of pain into a life of pleasure. I strategically chose the people that I wanted in my life that could take me to another level. If I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm in the wrong room. Because I'm never threatened by someone else's success. I'm not threatened by how much money you have, how long you've been married, your character. I thrive on that. I draw off of that. I feed off of that. I learn for a living. People ask me sometimes, what do you do for a living? I tell them I learn for a living. Well, how do you learn for a living? I learn from everyone around me. The first thing that I learned is that I didn't like pain. So to me, pain became a sign that change was necessary. Some people see pain as a bad thing. I see pain as a good thing, because when I feel pain, I know it's time for a change. So it's all about our perception. It's all about the way we see things. It's which side of the glass not are you looking through or looking at, but it's per se, I have to make sure that I'm not only looking at this side of the glass, but I'm able to walk to the other side and look through the other side as well. Because this side may say Coca-Cola, but the other side has the ingredients. So I've got to walk around and make sure I look and see the ingredients of what I've read on the front side. That's diversifying yourself. That is being willing to deal with the pain of your life. And that's what pain is. Pain has two sides. It has a painful side, and then it has a side that gives you the ability to make the change. So you got to go around to that, and you've got to be able to look at that and see that. Does that make sense?
It does. So when you were, as we were just chatting about before, you were in prison and you knew that that was not the calling for your life. And for a lot of people who have the background that you've had and the history that you've had and the experiences you had early on, when you found yourself there and you were in that hot cell, as we were just talking about.
Right? Brutally hot.
Right. And you knew that there were some dreams that you had inside of you.
Yeah.
What would you say was the trigger that allowed you to realize that this is not where I'm going to stay, that I'm going to get out of this mess and I'm going to make something of myself?
Jay, because I like the dreams that I dreamed. I like the feeling that I got when I saw it. Because what I saw when I dreamed was better than what I was living. Does that make sense? And so when I saw that, I began to chase that. So putting a plan together to achieve that dream, I took that plan and I applied it through education. I educated myself. I read books. I studied. I learned. I learned how to walk. I learned how to talk. I learned how to think different, because if I can think different, I can feel different. If I can feel different, I could do different. People say feelings don't matter, but what you feel is what you do. If I feel good, I do good things. If I feel bad, sometimes I do nothing. Does that make sense?
It does.
And so in order to change or to take control of my emotions in prison, prison was a horrible place. I could never understand guys who said that they were okay in prison. I could never understand guys that said I had a good day. Even when people told me about the Bible and told me about Jesus and you could be free, I was never free in prison. It didn't matter how many scriptures I read. I was never free in prison. It was hot. The beds were hard. There was too much metal. People were screaming, yelling, killing one another, fighting. I never had a good day in prison. So I decided that if I was going to get rid of all of these bad days, I needed to learn how to have good days. And they came through education. They came through an attitude. Attitude coupled with aptitude creates the altitude that you desire. The altitude is the dream. When you start dreaming, sometimes, Jay, sometimes people, I found myself not dreaming anymore when I was caught up in the streets and the drugs and the alcohol. But when I settled down and I began to dream again, I decided that the dream was what I wanted versus the life that I was living. And then I had to figure out a plan how to get there. And that came through education.
So having a dream is important regardless of the situation that you're in.
Dreams create hope.
That's right.
Dreams create hope.
That's right.
And hopeless people make hopeless decisions. Remember that. Hopeless people make hopeless decisions, but people who have hope make decisions of hope. So when I started dreaming, it gave me hope. Now, to some people, my dreams were foolish, but to me, my dreams were achievable, because if I could see it, I could achieve it. I just needed to find out what it took to achieve what I was seeing, and it came through education. It came through prayer. It came through studying. It came through hard work. It came through determination. It came through consistency. It came through believing in myself, that even on days when no one else believed in me, I had to believe to myself. I had to believe in myself. I talked to myself more than other people talked to me. Something I found out when I was in prison, Jay, and this is what I found out. It was very strange to me. But I realized that no one knew me like me. So I know what it takes for me to hear, for me to be happy. I know what I needed to say to myself to encourage myself. I know what I needed to say to myself to build myself up, to create hope within myself. So I didn't depend on anyone else to do that. I couldn't depend on anyone else to do that. I had to learn how to become self-sufficient in prison. So I did something called self-talk. Every day I would talk to myself. I would walk around the yard and I say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can achieve it. If I could see it, if I could believe it, I can achieve it. I can't worry about what I haven't done. I have to focus on what I can do. So even in prison, though I quote this thing today, one of my things that I really love is when I was in prison, I decided that I could not change my history, but I decided to write my future. I couldn't change my history. History was already done, but I decided to write my future because living in the now became the most important thing to me. I couldn't change yesterday. Matter of fact, yesterday didn't exist, only on paper. And then tomorrow doesn't exist because tomorrow's not here. So I hope to see tomorrow, but my guarantee is what I'm living in today. So now became an operation in my mind that I lived every single day in prison. I didn't wait till tomorrow. I did it now. I read, I studied, I took time to read, I took my time eating. I did everything in prison to live to have a better now that will create a better tomorrow. Does that make sense?
It does. Right. You wasted no time.
There was no choice.
Right.
What other choice was there?
There was no choice. Right.
It's called a Hobsons Choice. Hobsons Choice is this. When I was in prison, I learned a different word every single day. I decided in prison, I'm going to pick a word out of the dictionary and learn a word every single day. One of the words I learned was a Hobsons Choice. And a Hobsons Choice is when there are two choices, but one is a choice that you would never make. So I faced a Hobsons Choice when I came out. Either have a pity party, be depressed, be frustrated, think about my past, think about my criminal record, or believe in what I could accomplish, take off running as fast as I could, put a plan together, operate in integrity, make sure that my morals were right, make sure that I built the right relationships and that I treated people the right way, and that I made amends with everyone that I had ever hurt. Because those people that I hurt were bridges that had been burned down, but I started mending those bridges. I would even find people that I would see people in the phone, or someone would talk and say, hey, I talked to so-and-so, and I said, you know what? I did something to him, or I did something to her. Can I get that phone number? And I would call and say, hey, I apologize. Who is this? This is Keenan Williams. I did that to you, and I am so sorry. Because what I did, I was not in my right mind. Please forgive me. And I believe that making those amends with those broken or burned up bridges has made all the difference in my life, Jay. Because you don't want to run into people that you've hurt. Does that make sense? So I just destined myself and I said, I'm going to make sure that I make this up to everyone I've ever hurt, including the detective that sent me to prison, including the police officers that had to chase me, and the people that I robbed, that sometimes we look, and a couple of guys I'm real good friends with that I robbed back in the day. They were dope dealers and I was a robber, right? So I wouldn't apologize to him. Say, hey, man, I'm sorry for robbing you. like, man, what was wrong with you? I was a crackhead. What do you mean what's wrong with me, you know?
One of the things I appreciate about Keenan is not only his sincerity, his honesty, his straightforwardness, but he hit the ground running right out of prison the very next day. You took a job, you got a job the very next day. And I've worked in prisons and I've done prison work before, and it's just almost unheard of that you find a job the very next day, unless you have the one thing that I believe Keenan has. And it's the one thing you have to have if you're going to survive and thrive. You have to have initiative. All the things you've talked about, dreams, mentoring, surrounding yourself with people, all that's fantastic, but you have to have initiative. And you took immediate initiative out of prison. One of the things I share with folks is that I'm actually getting ready to do another video on this. And I understand people sometimes think that they're serious about things, but here's what I know. Serious people do serious things.
Sure, all the time.
If you're serious, you do serious things that back up how serious you are.
Yeah.
And you were intent and serious to make some of yourself as soon as you got out of prison.
I was passionate about being successful.
You know, speaking about that, you now are one of the most premier speakers, right?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but thank you.
Well, I believe that you are, because every time I
that.
turn on the YouTube and all sorts of stuff, you're all over the place, and on Facebook, and you're very popular. You do you're preach at some of the largest churches. The business community wants to speak with you. The law enforcement community wants to speak with you because you've got a lot of good things to say. So you've not arrived yet. You're still on your way. Why don't you share with us what the future looks like for Keenan Williams, and how is your life going to make an impact in the lives of others who are watching this video right now?
You know, Jay, my hope of speaking and talking about my story and sharing some of the principles that I laid down and I still lay down, because those same principles I used then, I have to use some of those same principles now. Now I have had to acquire and learn some other principles, because when you decide to go to a different level in life, you have to use something different to go to the different level. Mm-hmm. What worked today may not work tomorrow, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. But when you're passionate about success, you'll find out what works. Because that passion and that desire that drives you into success, it's amazing how the universe just brings people in front of you that line up with who you are, mm-hmm. and where you're going, because you've created that energy. Does that make sense?
It does.
So my hope for people is to, when they see my life and know that I was homeless for 4 years, been shot 6 times, in and out of jail over 45 times. I was a crackhead for 7 years, did 6 years in prison, when I burned every bridge you could possibly burn. When they see that my life was so torn down and it became a life of impossibility, and they see me today, I believe that they'll know that all things are possible. Mm. That's all I want people to know, is that all things are possible. If you have breath in your life, if you're here today, that means that there's something that God put in you so important that he has not allowed you to leave here. Mm. Because, Jay, people are dying all around us every day. Millions of people are dying right now, but we're still here. So I say to myself, what is the treasure that God has hidden in me that I have to keep opening up and showing people that's keeping me here? I believe that it's me speaking into their life. I believe that they have to see me, they have to feel me, they have to touch me, they have to hear me. They have to know that what I talk about is true. Not only for the people who are doing bad, but also for the people who have always been successful, that can become critical or judgmental towards those who have not been successful. Mm-hmm. Because we have a lot of that. We have a lot of people that say, I can't believe that he or she is doing that. I can't believe they're living. Well, you've never walked in their shoes. Mm-hmm. You know, Abraham Lincoln said something. He said General Meade, because General Meade wouldn't attack, and he told General Meade he was very angry. And when he finally settled down, he realized something. He says, okay, General Meade, if I had seen the bloodshed you've seen, if I fought the wars that you fought, then I would probably make the same decision that you've made. Therefore, I will never criticize again a man for his decisions and choices. That's the side that I hope I create for some people. The police officers, the governors, the senators, the President of the United States of America. I want them to know that every man on earth, every man in America, every man all over the world has an opportunity to become successful as long as he has breath in his lungs. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. Here is, well, by the way, this is a new release book, right? It's called Breakthrough.
Hadn't even shown it to anyone yet. No one's seen that but you.
Oh, okay.
Hadn't released it, hadn't done a book signing party, hadn't done anything.
Excellent. Well, you're getting a chance to see this for the very first time. Here's the book premiere right here on our show. First book. Excellent. Well, right next to Keenan Williams, he's in good company. I believe when they went out and they saw some of the best people, best speakers, fast-growing entrepreneurs, really movers and shakers and trailblazers, they picked Keenan because of his story, because what he's doing to back up his story and back up his message. So in this book, he's got the good company with Les Brown and Nick Haley and
Johnny Wimbrey.
My
man, JW.
There is Keenan Williams right there in very, very good company. So when this book becomes available, I encourage you to go out and get it, hear his story, or rather read his story, and you'll be very, very
all the stories
impressed.
In there are great, Jay. This whole book is about breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
It's about people that have come through hard times, faced obstacles, circumstances, and situations, and they have overcome them. That's why it's called Breakthrough. Because everyone has the opportunity to have a breakthrough. But that breakthrough depends on you. Mm-hmm. Because no one can make you successful but you. You have to first believe in yourself, and then you have to educate yourself into what you believe. That creates the formula for success.
Treat to have Keenan Williams here on our show. I got to tell you something. If you have any opportunity to track this man down and follow him on all of his platforms, I would encourage you to do that. He's got a great story, and his book, I've read his story, and he's right. There's a bunch of great contributors to that book as well who've got fantastic stories as well. Guys, I thank you for watching what I think was a phenomenal episode of Survive to Thrive TV. We've got many more to come. Make sure you hang in there and like our show, follow it, and share it, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah.